do quick.
This is October 12th, 1980, come on now, 2008. And we just finished the birthday celebration of Jack Rogan, 80th birthday. And so we've been talking a little bit this morning, Mary, about many things, but one was music in your life. So Jack was telling about the shows that you all used to do together, and I had asked him who influenced him musically, and I was interested who was the big influence on your music.
My mother and father initially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your mom the musicians?
My mom,
or?
she played the piano and sang, and my dad sang along with her.
Mm-hmm.
All the nice old songs from the First World War and after.
So when you were growing up, you used to hear them singing around the house?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
In fact, Mom and I did the dishes, and she'd harmonize and I'd sing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what was a song that you remember her singing growing up?
Well, all the old standards, Let Me Call You Sweetheart and Till We Meet Again. And
How does that go, Till We Meet Again? Just a verse.
there's a song in the land of the lily and the sweethearts that know it so well. And then it goes, smile, oh, while I kiss you Saturday.
So
I'm back there
That
again.
was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she was the big influence, and then there was you. Growing up, there was you, and who else in your family?
I had two brothers.
Two brothers. There's Eddie
And Joe.
and Joe. Okay. So you're the
Oldest.
You're
And
the oldest,
And I'm the one that's left.
the one that's left.
Mhm.
Okay. Can you tell me about those two a little bit?
Eddie was married to Josephine,
Uh-huh.
and he was very good to us when the kids were little. They used to babysit once in a while for us
Mm-hmm.
before they had children.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother Joe, he had a beautiful voice. He was a good singer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about.
Okay. So then, as far as you two meeting, where did you all meet?
St. Mary's Hall in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. And that was were you both in the choir?
We were both trying out for a show. They put on an annual show, St. Patrick's Day show every year,
Mm-hmm.
and we were trying out for parts.
Mm-hmm. And so what part did you get?
Peggy O'Neill.
Peggy O'Neill and Jack?
Shawnee O'Shea.
Shawnee O'Shea. Okay, really?
Yeah.
So was that the start of your relationship
Right.
there? That was the... And so how did that develop? I mean, you each had your parts. Did you know right away that you were...
Oh no, I didn't care for him at all.
No?
No.
Okay. So it just took a little bit of time for you to really see what was there.
He was persistent.
He was persistent.
He even offered to carry my suitcase when I go on shows.
And what's your story, Jack?
Well, that's true. I was warned by the parish priest, Father Welch, to stop trying to rub the makeup off her cheek.
He never said that to you. He told me to tell you.
Oh. But
We were a couple in the show. We got married in the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
So the light hadn't gone on at that point. The romance, no, it hadn't. So what did you used to do musically? I mean, after that, you did this show, and then what?
Well, I had been in a group that traveled around to the Army hospitals and naval hospitals and different groups, New Year's Eve parties and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we put on a little musical,
Wow.
and
Mm-hmm.
it was wonderful.
And then Jack, did you start going to these events also?
oh, sure, I was her escort. I carried a suitcase. I enjoyed watching the shows. They had wonderful performers. They had acrobats, magicians, hypnotists.
It's a good show.
all kinds of different vaudeville acts. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. We had a leader named Eddie Lyons. He was a postman, full-time job, but he did this show business on the side. And he was a wonderful guy. He told jokes and sang songs and did a little dance. He was a leftover from the great days of vaudeville.
Keith Circuit.
Hmm. So was this this group, was this through your church or was this through?
No, he was an independent fellow that would organize these shows and worked through the Red Cross sometimes, and then private people, the Masons and the firemen and
Right.
different
He was a
organizations.
small version of Ziegfeld and Lou Walters and these other great showbiz impresarios.
He was the local.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We had a wonderful time. It was a wonderful experience for me going into the hospital wards and seeing the veterans there from both world wars.
Wow.
Unusual. And I remember one occasion, I was at the Chelsea Naval Hospital, and there was one fellow, he was a sailor, he was young, he must have been maybe 19 or 20. He was a paraplegic, and he asked the nurse to ask me if I'd sing "I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen," and I did. And at the end he was crying. He had the rest of us in tears. And ever since then I thought, war is terrible, it's horrible, and it's still going on.
Did they make things for you? Didn't they made a doll of?
Well, they were three servicemen from the Army. They were in Framingham at that hospital, and they were being transferred to the Reed Hospital in Washington.
Walter Reed.
Walter Reed
Walter
Hospital.
Reed, yeah. Mhm.
Yes, and they wanted a recording of my voice singing a couple of songs, and the three of them and my pianist Veronica came with me, and we went to a recording studio, and they paid for the records and everything, and they were very happy with it. They sent me copies of it, and when they got to Walter Reed, I got a nice letter from them, and one of them was in occupational therapy, and they made me a little dog, a woolen yarn dog, and sent it. I met some wonderful people.
Mm-hmm. So had you ever thought you were going to have a career as a singer?
I thought so for a while, but then I saw the other side of it, and I thought, no, it's not for me. It's too hard a life. I was kind of a square person that didn't enjoy
The nightclub scenes, you mean?
No,
Just
I
that whole
didn't
action?
want, no.
She
I
was
didn't
beautiful.
want that.
She was
Oh,
the
yeah.
sweetheart of the
Yeah.
Massachusetts Firemen's Association, 1948,
Uh-huh.
and had a picture in the Boston Globe, right?
Right.
And it was a big deal. Big deal.
Just for a little while.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I got married, and we had 7 children, and that was the only singing I did was in church choirs after that. Well,
Mhm.
weddings and funerals and sometimes receptions.
Mm-hmm. Who's one of your
Safe things.
favorite male singers?
Well, started out at my grandmother's house with John McCormick. She had the old recordings, and
Could you know a song that he sang?
oh, Ireland, Mother Ireland, but I don't sing it anymore.
I mean, was it mainly Irish songs, John
Oh,
McCormick?
Yes, and
Okay.
well, and light opera. He was very well known.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was on a par with Caruso. They were a little different, but
Mm-hmm.
they're equally popular.
Mm-hmm. And then Jack had said Bing Crosby was his favorite. Do you have, what about more mainstream singers?
Yeah, I liked a few. I liked some of the opera singers, Eleanor Stever, and I liked Risa Stevens. She was a contralto, and a few more, but I can't think right now.
How about Ella Fitzgerald? What was that? What was she like when? Did you ever listen to her music, or is she already? Did that ever make the radar screen listening to her?
I think I was more Mahalia Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you had your brothers. You had Eddie and Joe going to your family, and you had, I guess, a grandmother that you were very fond of, huh?
Yes, yeah, she was wonderful to me.
What was your grandmother's name?
Nora Horgan Kavanaugh.
Okay. And so, what was the influence that she had on your life?
Every way.
Every way?
Every way.
Uh-huh.
She was a wonderful person.
Did you
I
spend,
thought everybody had a grandmother like that.
did you spend a lot of time
Oh,
as a
yes.
child with her?
Yes. Yeah.
So what was it, what was it that she did for you that made her so special?
She did everything for me. She would curl my hair in the morning before I went to school, long little ringlets, and I'd spend most of my time there in her house.
Yeah. Jack, you never met her, did you?
Oh yes, I did.
Did you?
I'd get on Saturday mornings. She had baked beans. She had been cooking all Friday. The smell was wonderful. She had a bird in the kitchen named Jackie, who I identified with Jackie.
Canary.
Oh yeah, did she
She
really have
always
a
had
canary?
a canary. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And she was a very welcoming, loving person.
It was a rocking chair in the kitchen.
Right.
It was a really old-fashioned kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
People would stop by to see her all the time, and I enjoyed that short time when I knew her.
Mm-hmm. How about your granddad? Was he?
He died when I was 5, but I
Wow.
vaguely remember him. He was a nice man.
So she never remarried?
No,
Yeah.
no.
What, was she active in the church, or?
No, she just took care of her family and the house, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
she went to Mass on Sunday. I went to Mass with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, St. Patrick's, yeah.
How about, you had a friend, Veronica Dugan?
Duggan, yes.
Duggan?
Yes.
Where does she fit into the
She's my
picture?
whole life.
She's been in your whole life, huh?
Yes, she was the organist and choir director at St. Patrick's Church, and I was maybe 9 years old when I first started to take notice, and I loved what she did.
Mm.
I finally was in a show at St. Patrick's, and the priest that was in charge of it introduced me to her. I was 13 when I was introduced to her, and she said, she was very stern. He says, well, why don't you come and join my choir? She was a contralto, big, beautiful voice. She graduated from the New England Conservatory of Music, very talented, beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did join the choir, but it meant going to 2 masses on Sunday. I had to go, because I went to St. Mary's High School, I had to go to the mass there at 10 o'clock and then run down to the 11:30 mass at St. Patrick's for choir.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a wonderful thing. It took up my whole life.
Tell about how you were recruited by the priest at confession.
Oh yeah, I went to confession one Saturday night, and he says to me, after I said my
What was his name?
Father Flaherty, and he said, are you going to be in the show? And I said, oh, I don't belong to this parish. And he says, well, that doesn't make any difference. He says, come over on Sunday afternoon.
Recruiting.
So I thought I was going to be in the chorus or something, you know. Oh no, you can just try out for one of the solo parts, and I did, and I got it. And it was kind of like the beginning of that. That's where this Eddie Lyons saw me, was in this show. He would go around and scout all these local parish shows and high school shows, and that's where he picked up the talent. And he came to the house and asked my mother and father if it would be all right for me to go along the shows with them. And he brought his wife with him, who was a wonderful woman. She was a nurse.
Mm.
And how could they say no? It was so nice. And I wanted to go.
Yeah. Well, that's a real sense of service too.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get it even at a young age, don't you? When you go into these hospitals, what you're doing for these people.
Oh my. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that works for these veterans coming back,
Mhm.
they have to be saints.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very difficult job.
Mhm. So, Jack, you've kind of continued your ministry in a sense, if you call it a ministry, with the doing your music, to these called retirement homes, but that's a way of
Right, I